Usually we think learning a new language is, building it brick by brick. You memorize a list of nouns, stack some verb conjugations on top, and boom, you've built a sentence.
Right, but then you actually step into the real world.
Exactly. Someone speaks to you at normal speed, and that neat little brick wall just completely collapses. So today, we're taking a deep dive into hacking that chaos.
Yeah, we have this really fascinating stack of sources to go through today. Language learning manuals, neurolearning transcripts, and curated vocabulary lists.
And our mission for you today is to uncover the ultimate shortcut to mastering English. We are looking at why learning complete phrases, and specifically how and in what context to use those phrases, is vastly superior to, memorizing isolated grammar rules.
Because that traditional brick-by-brick approach actually fights our own neurology. I mean, the brain isn't a hard drive where you just drop vocabulary files. It is a pattern recognition machine.
Right. Like we saw in the sources, they call this neuro-English or the natural method.
Yeah, it basically mimics how children learn their mother tongue. They don't sit around studying grammar rules. They absorb patterns through immersion and immediate context.
So without that overarching context, the brain literally doesn't know where to file the information. It is like, memorizing single words is like collecting loose puzzle pieces without ever looking at the box cover.
Oh, that is a great way to put it. Or, like trying to learn how to drive by studying the spark plugs. The brain really doesn't care about isolated parts. It only builds neural pathways when the engine is actually running in a specific context.
Okay, so if the brain needs the whole picture to build those pathways, how do we effectively lock these phrases in? Because we can't just read them off a list, right?
No, definitely not. You have to feed it context through this method called active context. It is a three-step process. First, you capture the full scene.
Okay.
Then you make it deeply personal. And finally, you visualize and actually feel it.
Wait, so if I'm trying to learn the phrase, I don't know, the bill, please, I shouldn't just write it on a flashcard. I need to actively visualize a specific waiter handing me a check at my favorite restaurant.
Precisely. You are creating a neurological anchor.
Ah, an anchor.
Yeah. Let's say you want to learn the phrase, I feel overwhelmed. You close your eyes and visualize your own flooded email inbox on a really stressful Monday morning.
Oh, wow. I can feel my blood pressure rising just thinking about that.
Right. And when you visualize that flooded inbox, your brain releases the exact same stress hormones as the real event. That chemical reaction actually tricks your hippocampus into storing the phrase as a core survival memory.
Instead of just, passing information that you forget 5 minutes later.
Exactly. And when you pair that with spaced repetition reviewing it over increasing intervals, that emotional anchor makes the phrase permanent.
Okay, but once you've anchored this phrase into your long-term memory, the next hurdle is actually retrieving it when the pressure is on. I mean, knowing how to say it doesn't matter if you don't know when it's appropriate.
The context changes everything. You have informal greetings like, what's up, or long time no see for friends, versus a professional, to be honest, I think, for the boardroom.
Right.
Context is the trigger. The brain uses situational cues, who you are talking to, the environment you are in, to pull up the correct phrase automatically.
But hold on, visualizing an anchor is great when I'm, sitting at home in my pajamas. What happens when I'm at a doctor's office? I actually can't breathe well, and I'm like panicking. I don't have time to close my eyes and visualize my inbox.
Yeah, that is the exact moment when mental translation completely fails us. And it is why techniques like shadowing and total physical response, or TPR, are so critical.
Shadowing is when you listen to native audio and immediately mimic it out loud, right? Like matching the rhythm perfectly.
Exactly. And TPR involves physically acting out the phrase while you say it. Just 10 to 15 minutes a day of speaking and moving builds literal physical neural pathways in your motor cortex.
So you're building muscle memory.
Yes. In that doctor's office, you don't translate "I can't breathe" word by word. The phrase emerges spontaneously because you've trained the physical reflex. You bypass the slow cognitive processing entirely.
So the big takeaway for you here is that you really don't need years of tedious study to master English. You just need to connect real phrases to your real life. Focus entirely on the phrases and exactly how and in what context you use them.
Yeah, let the context do the heavy lifting for you.
Which brings up a wild final thought for you to chew on. If your subconscious is capable of processing millions of bits of information per second, what happens if you start silently narrating your daily routine in English?
Oh, that's interesting.
Right, using these new phrases as you make coffee or commute. You might just completely hack your own internal monologue.